Annie held the book about Atlantis. She had always been fascinated by the mysteries of the lost city, and this book was filled with vivid illustrations and intriguing stories. It had pictures of buildings under the water, ancient ruins that seemed to tell a story of a once great civilization, now hidden beneath the waves. She showed it to her brother Jack, who was equally captivated by the idea of exploring such a mysterious place.
"Do you think it's real?" Jack asked, his eyes wide with wonder.
"Let's find out," Annie replied with excitement, her adventurous spirit ignited.
Jack ran to their secret treehouse, a place where they had shared countless adventures and dreams. The time machine was there, glowing blue. It was a sight to behold, shimmering with an otherworldly light. It was ready for another trip, its controls humming with energy, waiting for the next destination to be set. Annie and Jack climbed inside the time machine, their hearts pounding with anticipation. They had no idea what awaited them, but they were ready for the adventure.
"Take us to Atlantis!" Jack exclaimed, his voice filled with determination.
The time machine started to spin, then everything was quiet. The world around them seemed to dissolve into a blur of colors and lights.
"Where are we?" Jack asked, his voice echoing in the silence.
They were in a small, dark room. Annie opened the door. Bubbles floated everywhere. They were underwater. The adventure had just begun, and the mysteries of Atlantis awaited them. Annie and Jack put on their scuba gear. They swam out of the room. It was amazing. There were buildings all around them. The buildings were old and covered in seaweed, but they were beautiful. Fish swam in and out of the windows.
"This is Atlantis."
Jack was so excited, he swam towards a tall tower.
"Be careful, Jack."
Annie followed him, her eyes wide with wonder. Annie and Jack swam through the city, their eyes wide with wonder. The underwater ruins stretched out before them, a testament to a long-lost civilization. They marveled at the intricate architecture and the mysterious aura that surrounded the place. They saw statues of people and animals, each one more detailed than the last. The expressions on the faces of the statues were so lifelike, it was as if they could come to life at any moment. The statues were covered in glowing seaweed, which cast an eerie yet beautiful light across the underwater landscape. The bioluminescent algae seemed to pulse with a life of its own, adding to the surreal atmosphere.
"It's like something out of a dream," Annie whispered, her voice filled with awe. The entire scene felt otherworldly, as if they had stepped into a different realm.
She touched a statue of a mermaid, her fingers brushing against the cold stone. The mermaid's eyes seemed to follow her, adding to the enchantment of the moment. It shimmered in the water, the glowing seaweed making it look almost magical. The light danced across the mermaid's scales, creating a mesmerizing effect. Suddenly, the water started to shake, sending ripples through the serene scene. The tranquility was shattered, replaced by a sense of impending danger. Bubbles rose from the bottom of the ocean, creating a curtain of froth that obscured their vision. The once clear water was now filled with turbulence. Something big was moving towards them. A large shadow loomed in the distance, growing larger with each passing second. The kids' hearts raced as they realized they were not alone.
"What's happening?" Jack's voice trembled with fear, his eyes darting around in search of an explanation.
Jack's voice was shaky, filled with uncertainty. He could feel the tension in the water, the sense that something was very wrong. He looked around for a place to hide, his mind racing. The ancient ruins offered some cover, but would it be enough to protect them from whatever was coming? A giant sea monster appeared from behind a building. It had sharp teeth and glowing eyes. The monster roared, blowing bubbles everywhere.
"Swim!"
Lily yelled. She grabbed Max's hand. They swam as fast as they could. The monster chased them through the ruins. Lily and Max dodged seaweed and statues. They had to get away.
"The time machine!"
Max shouted. He pointed to the small room where they had arrived. Lily and Max swam towards the time machine, their hearts pounding with every stroke. The water around them seemed to thicken with tension as they pushed forward, their eyes darting back to check on the looming threat. The monster was right behind them. Its massive form cut through the water with terrifying speed, closing the distance between them with every passing second. Its giant fin almost hit them, slicing through the water like a knife. The sheer size of the creature was overwhelming, and the force of its movements created powerful currents that threatened to pull them back. They reached the room and swam inside, their breaths coming in ragged gasps. The safety of the room was a stark contrast to the chaos outside, offering a brief moment of respite. Max slammed the door shut just as the monster crashed into it, the impact reverberating through the walls. The door held firm, but the creature's relentless pounding was a grim reminder of the danger they had narrowly escaped.
Hurry, take off your gear! Max's voice was urgent, his hands shaking as he fumbled with the straps of his scuba gear.
Lily and Max took off their scuba gear as quickly as they could, their fingers moving with a desperate speed. The room was filled with the sounds of zippers and buckles, each click a step closer to safety. They climbed into the time machine, their movements hurried but precise. The sleek, high-tech interior of the machine was a stark contrast to the ancient ruins they had just left behind. Max pressed the button, and they were spinning through time again. The familiar sensation of being pulled through a vortex enveloped them, the colors and shapes of different eras flashing before their eyes. Soon, they were back in their treehouse, the comforting sight of their cozy hideaway bringing a sense of relief. The dense forest around them was a welcome change from the underwater world they had just escaped. Lily and Max were safe. The familiar surroundings of their treehouse felt like a sanctuary, a place where they could finally catch their breath and process what had just happened. They looked at each other, their eyes wide with amazement. The reality of their adventure was sinking in, and the enormity of what they had experienced left them speechless.
We saw Atlantis! Max's voice was filled with awe, the words barely a whisper as he tried to comprehend the magnitude of their discovery.
They had seen Atlantis. The legendary city, lost to time and myth, had been right before their eyes. The ancient ruins, the majestic temples, all of it was real. Their journey had taken them to a place that few had ever dreamed of seeing, and the memory of it would stay with them forever.